Washington State Cougars down the field in a hurry. Perfect 5 for 5 from Falk, the sophomore QB from Logan, Utah, originally a walk-on, and now Eric Powell for the PAT. A 7-0 start for Washington State in their second Sun Bowl trip.
Coming right out of the backfield on this play, just in there and back the other way, crossing the backs. Oh, this is the first pass earlier in the drive, coming down the middle of the field. This is what got it all started. And then coming the backside, the back coming out of the backfield, one back guy misses a tackle, and all of a sudden, 7-0 Washington State.
Miami in the Sun Bowl, that means it's going to snow. It's just started, I mean, right before kickoff, it started getting cold and rainy, and now it's snowing. Carter Blackburn, Gary Danielson, Allie LaForce on the field. Vern has taken down the Christmas tree. So, we want to be here. The teams say they want to be here. They say they're motivated and focused and all that. But what do you look for to judge that?
Well, it looks like right out from the start that both offenses are going to control the game. I mean, right now Miami's thinking we're going to have to match this, because as good as Washington State is throwing the ball, and with some of the things that has happened to the Miami defense, came in with 2 starters not going to play, and then in warm-ups they lose maybe Artie Burns to a collision with his own player. Now he played, but we'll have to keep an eye on that. It's about commitment. I mean, you have to want to play this game, because when you're going against this Mike Leach offense, they're going to dink and dunk all day. You got to be ready to play and finish the game, and today you got to do it. And something you're not looking forward to. It looks a lot like the last time Miami was here, and they did not react well. Notre Dame hammered them in that football game, and weather very similar.
Opening drive touchdown for Washington State in just 2 minutes, 19 seconds. Now Miami football, and Walton slips out of a tackle, knocked out of bounds as he crosses the 30-yard line. So we will see the Miami offense with Brad Kaya, the true sophomore from LA, lightly recruited by the California schools. Miami offered him early. He's started since day 1 of last year as a true freshman. Offensive coordinator James Coley says he's a special individual. Chick-fil-A starting lineup for the Miami offense. The line shuffled. Casey McDermott moves to right tackle for the injured Sonny Adogwu. Pass game, the Canes will try and get it to their 5th-year senior receiver from Melbourne, Florida, Rayshawn Scott. Toss on first down to Joe Yearby. It's not much. We take a look at the Washington State defense. Much improved under first-year coordinator Alex Grinch. Good group up front led by Destiny Bayou, senior defensive tackle from American Samoa, has 3.5 sacks this year.
When you put on the tapes, the first thing that jumps out at you, and it did for me, I don't follow Washington State all that much, don't get to see them play except for maybe a little bit of highlights, just how athletic this front 7, the 4 defensive linemen and the linebackers are. They're going to be a handful. It's going to be a real challenge for this Miami offense.
By another give to Yearby on 2nd and 10. More room on the right side. Yearby has a first down near the 45.
Well, this will be, if they can get the running game off, I mean, 2 teams that do not run the ball statistically all that well, if Yearby can help the quarterback, that's going to be huge. Because we can just see already, as we talked about, the way Washington State moved that football early in the game, I think you got to start thinking, if you're James Coley, the offensive coordinator, or Brad Kaya, this is likely to be a high-scoring game. You got to make every possession count.
Kaya, we'll see if that is incomplete or a fumble. It's an incomplete pass, just barely intended for Walton. Well, you go back 5 years, Gary, you talked about that 2010 Sun Bowl. It was a whole lot nastier than it is right now, and Miami didn't respond.
It is. It's not bad if you're any football team with the lead. The question is, if it starts to get behind by a touchdown, 2 touchdowns, 17 points, then you look around and your teammates, and you better have strong leadership on that Miami team or Washington State to finish the game.
Kaya on 2nd and 10, back to Yearby. Falling forward, pushing the pile for 5 right at the 50. Yeah, it was right before kickoff. We knew this weather was coming. It's a question of when.
And yesterday was wonderful. This morning was wonderful, and we thought we might kind of dodge this until after the game. But it hit. You know, they canceled the, parachuters they canceled. I don't blame them.
Yeah, I don't blame them either.
But we'll see how Brad handles this. You know, he's from California, played in South Florida. See how he handles throwing in this weather.
3rd and 5, first completion goes for a first down for Miami. It's Braxton Berrios, a sophomore from Raleigh.
Well, what a pleasure to watch these two quarterbacks on tape. See them in the slot, little stop read route right there. One of the things that Kaya does as well as any quarterback you'll watch is make decisions. He makes them quick and he doesn't hesitate.
Deep shot, flag down, knocked away, incomplete. Motion on the line. Kaya bobbled the snap and they take the deep shot.
Yeah, a lot went wrong on that play, and Brad did a good job of just getting rid of it and avoiding a sack.
Offside. Defense, number 99. 5-yard penalty, replay.
Interesting, when we were talking to James Coley, the offensive coordinator from Miami, who was on a 3-year run here with this offense, setting all kind of records. He said that they've gained over 500 yards this year on plays just like that when the defense has jumped off sides, kind of like an Aaron Rodgers in the NFL, have really taken advantage. And that's the thinking of Brad Kaya. He knows when he can take a big play.
1st and 5, another bobble. Kaya picks it up and delivers another deep shot, incomplete. So that's a couple of bobbles that Kaya's managed to pick up and get downfield, but neither of them complete.
Well, Nick Linder, number 68, delivers it perfectly. Had it, I wondered if it was knocked out of his hand that time by Yerby. He was very close. Yerby was crossing to pick up the blitzer, and he might have knocked it out of Brad's hand. It's one of the advantages of the shotgun is you can put it back to one side and have them block on the other side. Sometimes if you don't stomach that ball right away, you get it knocked out.
Kaya under center now for 2nd and 5. The toss, Yerby straight ahead to bring up 3rd and short. Palacio, one of those solid ends for Washington State, makes the tackle.
Well, there's no tight ends for Washington State, so let's watch a little tight end play. Here's number 23, Christopher Herndon. Watch, end of the line of scrimmage, just takes his man easily, and that's why they're able to get to the corner on the play.
Opening drive from Miami after Washington State scored in 2 minutes, 19 seconds to get it started. Kaya 3rd and 3, gives Yerby push back. It's a tackle for loss by this aggressive Washington State defense.
Not sure who it was inside, but great penetration. Inside the middle, penetration inside right off the nose tackle. I believe it was Hercules Mataafa, number 90 or 50 that made the play. It could have been number 90 as well, but that's the type of penetration. You know Mike Leach is going for it on 4th down, so you might as well go for it on 4th down if you're Larry Scott.
Kind of no man's land, right?
Yeah, it is.
So 4th and 3, Kaya from the shotgun with 4 wide. Delivers enough for a first down. Miami converts on 4th and 3. Stacy Coley makes the grab.
Decisions. He sees it right here. Look at this big hole on the slot receiver. He knows where the ball's going before the ball is snapped. It's really a pleasure to watch a quarterback manage a football game. Again, with Brett Kaya, think about going to the University of Miami. There's a few guys that have been to do it. Start as a true freshman and be basically the captain of this game as a true sophomore.
On the right side, that's Yerby falling forward. Let's check in with Allie LaForce.
Carter and Gary, so much for the name Sun Bowl. That's been the joke down here on the sidelines, but I gotta say I'm really impressed by these two football teams. They were celebrating the snow. It came down so thick that the players were picking up the chunks of snow and showing each other and saying, hey, look, it's the first snow of the year. Some of these Miami players even told me they have never seen snow before. So guys more happy than anything.
11th play here, Allie. Completion, another first down inside the 10, down to the 6-yard line. That's Christopher Herndon, the sophomore tight end.
This is one of those RPOs of modern football. Brad has the option of either running it or seeing the slot receiver. The offensive line is running a run play. He's deciding to pitch it out to the slot, gets a completion, and keeps that defense off balance. And what he's also doing is keeping that Washington State offense off the field with this drive for him. Today's
Red Zone brought to you by Verizon. You see the touchdown percentage for Miami, not good, just 50%. So into the red zone, and you talked about it, a big difference for the Miami offense, field goals in the red zone versus the touchdown.
Yeah, but plays right here, plays and clock. I think if I was Miami, if I knew I was going to score, I'd rather score in 6 or 7 minutes with a 10 to 12 play drive than in 2 to 3 minutes with a 5 and 6 play drive. Just helps your defense. They're not scoring when they're over there on the sideline.
So basically trying to play keep away from that air raid offense.
And as we talked about, the Miami defense is short on personnel.
2nd and goal. Kaya under center. Yearby takes it again. Stood up. 3rd and goal. Miami on the opening drive for the Canes.
I think that was Destiny Vial right there, number 97. This guy is going to be playing NFL football. Turn on a tape and watch the number of times he's blocked, number 97, in this football game. Vio is a force. Hard to be a force in modern football because of all the quick passing. But when he has a chance, he makes plays.
Recruited by Alabama, stuck with his commitment to Washington State. 3rd and goal, Kaya, another bobble. Shot to the end zone, incomplete. Flag down. Pass intended again for Herndon.
Pass intended for Christopher Herndon, incomplete.
Referee Jerry McGinn from the Big Ten on the offense.
Pass interference. Offense, number 11. Penalties decline. 4th down.
You can see it's one of those pick plays to the outside. It was actually the outside man that time. That was Rashawn Scott that actually had the penalty. That was, I don't know, a little bit of an unnecessary ticky-tack call in my mind. He really wasn't picking anybody that had the play. He was really just collisioning the guy. And they're going to go for it. I think this is all predicated on the way Washington State scored easily. Larry Scott is saying field goals aren't going to be a big help. Well, now they might have to go field goal.
Previous play is under further review.
Oh, before the penalty. I don't know what they'd be reviewing.
We'll try to get a clarification on what exactly they're going to review. Question of whether the down is correct. Penalty declined, incomplete pass. On that last penalty, so clarify to make sure this is 4th down.
I think they ran twice, and that was an incomplete pass. I think it's 4th down.
There's nothing on the play they're reviewing, just making sure they got the down right. Here's the call.
Yeah.
The ruling on the field is confirmed. 4th down.
All right.
Well, that old Missouri-Colorado team would have liked to.
Yeah.
One side of it would have liked to have had review on that.
It's Larry Scott, interim head coach.
Of course, my old high school coach, Phil McCartney, likes it to stand the way it is.
I didn't know that. So 4th and goal, the offense still out there for Miami.
Miami caught, I thought, a little break because I thought there was movement up front, or maybe, I think it was Alex Gall, number 67, who was just reacting to the whistle.
Already 1 4th down conversion on the drive for Miami. Kaya delivers, touchdown, Canes. 2nd 4th down conversion of the drive, and Miami has an opening drive touchdown.
Well, I mean, if you're going to play off Stacy Coley, number 3, the best receiver for Miami, Brad Kaya knows he's going there before the snap again. way too easy. I mean, they're not going to get beat on that type of play. Taylor Taliulu says, I'm going to back off at the goal line. That's just a bad mental play for Washington State.
A 15-play opening drive for Miami. So just as scripted, Washington State scores in a hurry. Miami takes their time, but a pair of opening drive touchdowns. Brad Kaya delivers with the rain and the snow falling in the Sun Bowl. Solid starts.
Yeah, I mean, you're almost splitting hairs to say how they play differently. You know, it might be Luke Falk could play at Miami and Kaya could play at Washington State. But in the systems they're both operating it perfectly. They both are making a lot of decisions. I think it's a little harder for Falk because he has to pull back. He has to be 70-75% or that offense isn't going to work. Brad Kaya can use a lot more weapons, and he's doing a great job of it.
Falk averages 38 completions a game, most in the nation, 54 pass attempts a game, average.
And, you know, that's really going to be the number in this game. It's going to be about 50 passes. What does Miami do with them? I think, Carter, is if the Washington State passing approaches with 50 attempts, 400 yards, 8 yards per attempt, bad news for Miami. If it's closer to 300 yards, 6 yards per attempt, good news for Miami. It's both ways. Washington State one way with 400, 300 Miami.
7-7 early in El Paso. Both opening drive touchdowns for Washington State and Miami, so 7-7. We see Luke Falk, second drive, sophomore from Logan, Utah. Originally walked on with the Cougars. He's had a couple of head injuries, but cleared to play 2 days after the last regular season game. Chick-fil-A starting lineup, Washington State offense, the two big question marks for the Cougars, both in the lineup. All-American tackle Joe Dahl back after missing 4 games with a foot injury. So is Gabe Marks. Record-setting receiver suffered a nasty-looking leg injury versus Washington, but quickly bounced back.
I have to admit, I'm surprised. I thought Marks that might be a month injury. You sprain an ankle like that, but he's back, and that's good news for the Cougs.
Falk was 5 for 5 on the opening drive. Hands off to Jamal Morrow. This gets a couple. So we take a look at the Miami defense. 24 takeaways by the Miami defense, 6 of them on interceptions from Artie Burns, the junior corner from Miami's Northwestern High School. And all eyes on Artie Burns to see how that pregame injury affects him.
They haven't even gone his way yet, so we really don't know. But one thing that has popped up, Carter, it's been slipperier for the defensive backs. They're struggling out there.
First screen is incomplete. Intended for Williams. This is Burns in pregame.
Yeah, he and Dallas Crawford are out there warming up, and watch this. Right into each other. And Artie's good enough to say the Washington State cheerleader right there was, she wasn't cheering for that injury. Let's put it that way.
No. So Artie Burns has been clutch, second team All ACC, and you talked about how they don't have much depth on defense anyway.
Losing Carter is a big thing. We talked to Mark about that.
Third down, Falk bothered, but he completes anyway for a first down in traffic to River Craycraft, coming back from injury himself.
This is what Luke Falk does so well. He stays in the pocket even when he feels pressure. He uses his height and then delivers the ball off balance that time to the cross receiver, Craycraft, on that one. That is the tough part. It's hard to get him off the mark.
Falk's 6 of 7 now. Make it 7 for 8. That's Robert Lewis. We talked about the other two Miami players who are not here. Jamal Carter, violation of team rules, was sent home. And then Cortell Jenkins, who starts on the line to tackle, ruled academically ineligible.
You know, I don't know which is more important. Cortell Jenkins would have played about 30 snaps in this game. And when you turned on the Washington game against Washington State, it was penetration inside that gave State problems.
Falk almost intercepted at midfield, intended for Harrington, and Jawan Young nearly got the pick.
Well, Harrington gimmicked him that time. Usually they break outside. This time he faked outside, slipped by Miami. Pass was behind him, and a couple of Hurricanes had opportunities to make one of those stops. That's the key here against this team. You're going to get 2-3 opportunities to stop a drive. Can you get them off mark?
On 3rd and 7, Falk hit as he throws. Pass is...
Oh, I thought it skipped.
Yeah, incomplete. That's finally the ruling, incomplete. It was intended for Priester. Muhammad applies the pressure.
Luke Falk did an excellent job with his eyes. He blinked to the side to take the coverage away, but yes, that ball went through the arms, right through Priester's arms, right off the turf. So a stop is so valuable against this offense. You can turn the tables if you're Miami and put pressure on the Washington State offense by another long drive here, then they get the advantage.
First defensive stop of the day brings on the punter Zach Charmy for Washington State, freshman from Boise. Braxton Berrios back to return.
Boy, that was a slow delivery right there. Let's see if Miami doesn't notice that later.
There's a flag down. Berrios brought down at the 27. We'll check the flag.
Hey, let's go! During the return, legal block in the back. Return team, number 4, 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
Miami has the most penalty yards per game in the nation. And that is the first on Miami. But the Canes defense turns up the pressure on Falk and the Cougs and gets the football back in a 7-7. 7-7, Miami and Washington State here in snowy El Paso. When we talked about the head injuries of the sophomore quarterback Luke Falk in both the UCLA game at the Rose Bowl and then in the Colorado game, suffering head injuries. So he sat out the Apple Cup versus Washington, cleared 2 days later, but when he goes down like he did on that last hit.
Well, if we watch it, it's very similar to the one that he had against Colorado, and watch him blink as he gets up. Now, we have observers around. Washington State has observers. You know, those head injuries are such a dangerous thing, and for such a guy with such a bright future, you just wonder on this turf how it's going to end up. Big hit by Muhammad on that one.
Washington State under Mike Leach, they don't talk about injuries at all, but I mean, it's head injuries obviously there. Brad Kaya also had to miss a game this year because of concussion. Kaya hit as he throws downfield, complete inside the 50. Kaya delivers to Stacy Coley as he's popped.
Well, you can see the open field, not much disguise. Look at the open field. Kaya knows before he makes the fake where that football is going. If you're going to play defense against a heady quarterback like Brad, who takes a hit himself on that one by Bio, number 97 again, you have to put some confusion in that quarterback's head or he'll eat you up.
36-yard completion, back on the ground, Yearby can't turn the corner, maybe only gets a yard. Equale, his tackle on the stop.
Can Alex Grinch, as defensive coordinator for Washington State, put more doubt in Brad Kaya's head before? There's Alex in the middle there without the hat on. Defensive coordinator. We came from Missouri a couple years. First year defensive coordinator, done a good job statistically, but I think in this game with this level of quarterback play, he's going to have to give him some doubt.
Blitz complete to the outside, slipping away for extra yardage. That's David Njoku, the redshirt freshman tight end that you love.
Ridiculous athlete. Njoku, 6'4", 245. Tremendous athlete. Watch this ability. Look at that. Puts his hand down, spins away from the tackle, and gets the extra yard. A mismatch, and he is going to be a freak, Carter, as he moves forward in this offense.
National high jump champion in high school. He's always said football is first. He went out and set record in the high jump of the ACC with his sweats and a visor
as
on.
As a hobby.
And we may have a review. So, I mean, this is the high jump. He is Parents are from Nigeria, grew up in New Jersey, redshirt freshman, and he's coming on, and not just a pass catching tight end.
He's a pretty good blocker, isn't he? You know, it's one of those things of recruiting a guy like that. When you have a tight end, you can high jump like that, just give him a scholarship. You don't even have to watch any more tape. Give the guy a scholarship.
Checking to see if Njoku was down. The elbow
I
was
did not
down.
see it. He was blocked that time to see if his elbow. Shalom Luani, let's see if we can see it from this. It might have been. It might have been his right elbow was down.
The rulebook says when any part of the ball carrier's body except his hand or foot touches the ground.
Can't tell from that look. It's not conclusive from that look.
And so
I thought that one look we had, I think it's this one you can tell. Yeah, I think it's down. I think they're going to bring that back. It's still athletic play, but I think that one's going to come back.
a reminder, in college football, it's the sole discretion of the replay official, Bill Simons. So consulting with the referee, Jerry McGinn, but it's the call of the replay booth. And if they are going to bring it back, have to determine where it is, how much time's on the clock, and all those things.
Yeah, that's where all the writing comes in. And Njoku's going, I don't know where it's going to end up, but I made a good play on that one.
21st catch of the year. I mean, you talk about a contrast in styles between the offenses. You pointed out,
Yeah.
You're not going to see the tight ends anywhere on the Cougar sideline, but you'll see them all over for Miami.
And this is what's so key about leadership. I mean, this is Brad Kaya's team. When you go out to practice, he's, that great leadership obviously from the coaches, but you got to have somebody on the field that can transition. He's in charge. Like all the great Miami quarterbacks, Kozar, all those guys that been through there. I mean, you have players, Vinny Testaverde, you have the quarterback being the leader, and he's right in that mold.
It's why we talked to the offensive coordinator, James Coley. He says special individual. Yeah. Coley was on him early in recruiting and really thought, maybe this guy doesn't have all the pub of a Southern California guy like some others do. But he says, I like him. I'm going to commit to him. And they offered him a scholarship. Kaya honored it even when the California schools came on him late. And since day one, true freshman year, has been a leader for the Canes.
And listen, this is an ultra ego program here. You better be a strong
At the further
leader
review,
to be on
after
this
the
team.
reception, the runner was down at the 44-yard line. It'll be third down at the 44-yard line.
Well, that's a good job by the replay official using his ability to stop the game, using the replay, and that's why you got to get it fixed. It looked good, blocked by a couple of angles. There's no way the officials on the field could have seen that. So now we've corrected it. We've got 3rd and 5, 6, 7. A couple more guys that give me help. I was blanking out. Of course, Jim Kelly, Gino Torretta, Craig Erickson, Ken Dorsey. They all had that leadership gene, and they all took advantage of it. You got to have it from that position. And Miami could have 2 more years of it from this guy.
The true sophomore from LA, already more passing yards than Kosar and Testaverde. Hand it off to Yearby on 36 on the draw. Good block. Yearby spins for a Miami first down, and he keeps rolling inside the 35.
Well, Njoku got the big catch on the play before, and he's going to come up with a crackback block on this one coming back right now. Gets around the corner. Now watch him come back and get the block. Beautiful on Pallure, number 47. He gets the block. So he got his yards back by doing it a different way.
And right after you can talk about, all right, there's tight ends out there who are just pass catchers, but not this guy.
Well, he just fits the mold. I mean, that's a guy that you can build an offense around.
Walton takes the toss. Mark Walton, the freshman from Miami's Booker T. Washington, dropped for a loss. It's Parker Henry, the junior nickel.
Yeah, Parker Henry will line up all over the field. He's one of those guys that he was a walk-on in this team, running back in high school. He's one of those guys that you just, wherever you put him, he's going to make plays. Very valuable football player. Plays like a strong safety, outside linebacker, nickel, whatever you want. He's all over that front.
Alex Grinch, and by the way, it is the day after Christmas, and Alex Grinch is defensive coordinator. We will not be making any.
Well, if it's coming from anybody, it's going to come from you.
Then it's coming from Allie.
Well, yeah. Vern would be all over that, though, I'm telling you.
Packing up the tree. And a flag down, and delay of game coming.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
You know, as we look at, let's talk a little bit about head coach Larry Scott. 5-2 since he's taken over. You can talk a lot about, you know, we have, about Brad's leadership. But I thought what this guy did, coming in, walking into a, program that's under duress. 5-2, they've had a couple of tough losses, but he's managed it. I think he's done a good job with this football team.
Kaya 2nd and 18 behind him, and what a grab. Reaching behind to haul it in, Mark Walton. Terrific grab by the freshman running back.
Yeah, and it might have been tipped on the play. Walton right down the slot from his back's position, getting inside. I thought it was tipped, and he caught it as well. And boy, this time, remember Washington State tried to get the same play, and it didn't work. And this time, Miami makes it work.
You're right, Gary. It looked like Calvin Green got a hand on it, and then Walton made the adjustment in flight to make the grab. Wow. What a catch at the end of the first quarter with the score, Miami 7, Washington State 7. We'll return to El Paso after this message and a word from your local station. Opening drive touchdowns for both Miami and Washington State here in the 82nd Sun Bowl in El Paso. Well, you saw that last grab by Mark Walton at the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, this is what a quarterback has to do so well. Instead of just drilling this ball in here, he actually puts a little loop on it, a little bit wider on the play. Because if he'd have thrown this ball straight at the receiver, that would have been eaten up by Calvin Green. It was tipped anyway, and a great catch. But if you just line drive that ball in there, that could have been intercepted. And that's a lot of snaps. That's a lot of experience, knowing to get that ball up high where you can know those kind of linebackers from out of your vision can make plays.
Saw Walton hobbling a little bit coming away from that play. 1st and 10 Miami. That was the last play of the first quarter. Play action. Kaya to the end zone. Knocked away, and it is...
They say it's intercepted.
Intercepted by Washington State. Pallure comes away with it off the deflection. Picked off by the Cougs.
I think it was Rashawn Scott, number 11, that should have had this touchdown. And I think from the back it was Charleston White that made the play. Should have been a touchdown. Got to catch this ball. It's flicked away at the last second by White, and it ends up being a touchdown. A touchback.
What a play by White.
Yes, beautiful. Closed on the ball, didn't give up with it, and Pallure hangs with it and makes the catch. Pallure stays in there, and the best thing for Washington State, not only a turnover, but a touchback on the same play. That is a tough one. That is a turnover that could have been 7 points and should have been 7 points for Miami.
1st and 10 from the 20.
Scott couldn't make the grab. White knocks it away. So Peyton Pallure, the 4th generation Cougar, ends up with the interception. So give it right back to the Washington State offense. Luke Falk, who is 7 for 10 to start, handing off to Jamal Morrow around the left side. So Morrow with the start. Remember before we started this game, we talked about, all right, both teams have talked about being motivated for this game, but which team is motivated?
I don't know.
What do you think?
Don't you think it's equal? I do. And that's fun because I think both teams are moving the ball. I think part of the history of Miami, and I think that Larry Scott's done a great job, he said, listen, we don't want to do what that last team did to come in here. And having it happen to a Miami team before, I think they're a much more ready football team to play.
Larry Scott talked about that attitude, saying it is intolerable.
Yes.
We do not allow any of that discussion around the program. And Wicks gets the first down. And you talk to everyone around the Sun Bowl, they say, boy, has Miami been great, gracious, and happy about making this trip 5 years after they came and snowed and they lost the blowout to Notre Dame.
Well, this is a football team that a lot of people thought might make that next step in the ACC this year, especially with a veteran quarterback, plenty of weapons at wide receiver. They've done well running the football. The biggest question mark was the offensive line. That's where they had to come through.
Martin goes in motion. The handoff goes to Wicks. Fumbles the football. Miami gets it right back at the 30, scooped up by Dion Bush. A turnover by Miami, and then the defense gets it right back.
I think it was Smith, number 57, that had the big hit on the play from behind. Bounce out, he's coming from the back end of it. Watch him get the hit from behind. It's usually what happens on these fumbles. It was Smith that got the hit, and then it's scooped up and basically back-to-back turnovers on the play.
And now Kaya and the offense get it at the 30 after nearly having a touchdown knocked away. Bush scoops it up, so that gets Miami back to plus 13 turnover margin on the year.
Let's see if they go back to Rashawn Scott now. Senior player makes, what could have had a catch, doesn't happen.
But it's a handoff, and it's Walton, and not much there with Ivan McLennan on the stop.
Well, with Washington State defense, they come at you from so many different angles. Guys that are safeties are in there rushing the quarterback. It's you really have to pick your spots and keep your rules in front of you, because this Washington State defense comes at a lot of different angles.
See the numbers a whole lot better, including takeaways. They only had 8 takeaways last year. Now 22 this year. Dropped again, Scott.
He did come back to him. I mean, great leadership, great plan. Give a lot of credit to James Coley, the offensive coordinator. You want Rashawn Scott later in the game, so a guy who could have made a big play, you come back to him, and nothing happens.
You read anything into the cold? I mean,
I don't know. It doesn't. I think the wind may be a factor a little bit more than the cold. It doesn't feel that bad to me. I don't know. It's
on 3rd and 10. Kaya steps up, hit as he throws again to the end zone. Incomplete, intended for Waters.
Good coverage again by Charleston White, number 4. Made the play the last time, and this time on Herb Waters, he makes the play again. He's not got him blanketed, but in man-to-man coverage, that's about as good as you can expect. He was there, he forced a perfect throw, and even if it would have been, they might have been able to stop it. It's in between here. I wouldn't mind handling the ball to my quarterback. It's into the wind. I don't, they've got a good field goal kicker, obviously, but might as well just tee it up and let your quarterback see if he can find 10 yards.
It'd be a 47-yard field goal attempt from here from Badgley, but instead the offense stays out there for now.
They're gonna call a timeout here and get a plan. Clock was running down.
So Larry Scott takes a timeout. Will the Canes go for it on 4th down again? El Paso, Texas, the 82nd Hyundai Sun Bowl, 48th year on CBS. Let's go back to the 4th down conversions.
Right, they're 2 for 5 on 3rd down, but 2 for 2 on 4th down. And decision maker and quick decisions has been the key. I mean, Brad Kaya's pocket awareness is, we're just marveling about it up here in the booth. Going against the wind here, he's been, on target with the football. It's really not bad thrown into the wind, Carter. Maybe sideways gives you a problem when you throw it to the flanks, but upfield it shouldn't be a problem.
On 4th and 10.
Ooh, that's a tough throw right
Check
there.
down. Walton makes the grab and only gets a yard on 4th and 10.
I don't like that one. That ball's got to be forced downfield. You have to almost live with an interception in that way. That's a play, an aggressive, Ben Roethlisberger is not dumping that ball off right there. You got to force it, and if it gets picked off, you just got to make a tight throw in this situation. I played with one of the best in Cleveland, a Miami Hurricane quarterback, Bernie Kosar. He would not dump that ball off on 4th down.
Luvu makes a great stop. Open field tackle, and finally Kaya and Miami thwarted on 4th down. Cougar ball. Couple of touchdowns, a couple of turnovers. We're tied 7-7, Miami, Washington State. Well, Mark Richt will take over as head coach of the Canes tomorrow. Quarterback at Miami from 79 to 92, backing up Jim Kelly and Florida State assistant coach, and then the 15 years at Georgia, including 2 SEC championships. Mark Richt joins us now. So, Coach, other than the obvious, it's your alma mater. What was it about the Miami job that you were excited about?
Well, it's just a great place, number one. Miami is an awesome city. The university is beautiful. And, I just think there's a wonderful opportunity to really do some great things there. They've been in the Coastal Division, or at least in the ACC, I think for 12 years now, and haven't had a chance to, for whatever reason, haven't won the Coastal, but really looking forward to the challenge of trying to get there and make it to Charlotte for the championship game.
Coach Gary here, I'm wondering, did you call in because I didn't include you in the list of all those great Miami quarterbacks?
I can't believe that. You know, I think the Lord knew I was going to coach quarterbacks and had me surrounded by great quarterbacks throughout my career, but I wasn't one of them.
Yeah, I named them all. I forgot you. I apologize for that.
That's no problem.
For Coach Rick, as we get second down here for Washington State, I mean, the last conference title in the Big East, we know all about the past success as the screen goes to Morrow. Miami was ready. Morrow just gets a yard. But, I mean, how do you take the good program coming off of NCAA sanctions a few years ago and make Miami great again?
Well, I think it starts with recruiting. We've got to do a great job in the South, in South Florida. Obviously, Coach Snellenberger, way back when I was there, declared Miami the state of Miami and was going to recruit very diligently in that area, and I plan on doing that. But there's a lot of great players throughout the state. There's a lot of great players in the Southeast that I think would be very interested. And then if would you not take another Jim Kelly from Pennsylvania or Vinny Testaverde or Bernie Kosar from Ohio and all that kind of thing? So there'll be great players all around the nation that are interested in Miami. Obviously, Brad Kaya is a great player from California there. So we're going to do a national recruiting. We'll recruit nationally as well, but we've definitely got to make hay at home.
Well, watching these two quarterbacks, Coach, I mean, Luke Falk just poured one in on your Canes, but these two guys, pretty exciting quarterbacks. We were together in the SEC. Did not have really this type of caliber quarterback this season. You've got an exciting one you're going to coach next year.
Oh, Brad's a tremendous player, but he's a tremendous young man. He's exactly what you're looking for as far as leadership's concerned, and a guy that just loves the game of football. So I'm really looking forward to working with him and the rest of the guys.
One quick question about the future, Coach. I know you've talked to a lot of players and probably assistant coaches. Do you have your staff, even though it's not announced, is it done? Is it all, in your drawer ready to go and get started after this game?
Well, it's close to being finished, but there's a lot of decisions that have been made, and there's a couple more to be made, but the great majority of it, I'm in pretty good shape right there.
Coach, thank you very much for the time. Congratulations on the return to Miami, and we'll look forward to seeing your Hurricanes teams in the future.
Thank you so much.
Mark Richt, who takes over head coach of Miami. So it's one of those awkward bowl game situations where halfway through the year, Al Golden gets fired, Larry Scott, interim head coach.
It's a Sun Bowl tradition,
Tamales on Christmas.
Yeah, exactly.
Interim head coach, yeah.
Al Golden was here last time. It's just Sun Bowl tradition. Well, we were a little worried about Luke Falk, but he delivered that one in there. His best pass of the game, right in the gut of that Miami defense.
Wicks picks up the first down for the Cougars. So 1st and 10 as Washington State gets rolling again. Remember a fumble on the last possession.
Excuse me, Carter.
No.
You mentioned Joe Dahl, left tackle, playing in this game, one of the key spots. When you turn on the tape, the Apple Cup, that was a big loss. I mean, young players had to play left tackle. I think it was Andre Dillard, number 60 in the game, and that was a spot that was missed. A couple sacks and pressure all day on Peyton Barber from that position, the backup quarterback.
A pass almost picked, intended for Don Williams. It was Rayshon Jenkins who got a hand on it.
We were talking about that playing a lot of zone defense for Miami, keeping their eye and keeping the receivers in front of them. That's the game plan for Miami.
Walk on 2nd down over the middle. That is complete at the 20-yard line. That's Tyler Baker, the senior Ole Miss transfer. Make it 3rd down.
Well, Mike Leach is quirky. He's different. He's got his own ways of doing things. But if you embrace it, you do have to embrace it if you're a quarterback or a receiver. He's going to get you a lot of yards. Exciting offense. He's either has the smallest penmanship or the smallest game plan in all of college football. He must
Tiny
print
writing.
Tiny.
A little
tiny.
bitty letters.
I think he has like 6 plays. He goes, okay, run number 4.
Here's number 4, and it's incomplete. Looking for the slant to Williams.
Little high that time. That's one that Luke Falk would like to have over those incoming routes to those guys. You got to get them down on the body, man-to-man coverage. Ball was overthrown, and the team that goes for it as much as anybody in college football will go for it on 4th down.
Why not? This will be the 37th time Washington State has gone for it on 4th down. Only Purdue has actually gone for it more on 4th down. So 25 at 36, and now we go for it for the 37th time this year.
Usually with 2 backs, they run one of them out of there in motion on 4th down. Let's see what they do. No, different motion this time.
Marks goes in motion. Falk over the middle, tries to jam it in there, and he does.
Yes,
Craycraft.
Well, Ryan Craycraft had the winning touchdown against Rutgers early in the year. Maybe the biggest play for this Washington State team all year. Remember, they started the season losing to Portland State. They needed that Rutgers game. Good coverage, a better throw, and Cornelder was there, but, you know, sometimes a perfect throw beats a really good defense.
They've come from behind time and time again this year, like the famous 65 team for the Cougars. Drama all year long. Falk on 1st down, going to hand off. It's Gerard Wicks.
There's going to be a holding penalty on this one. This is going to be moved back 10 yards. I think it was Cole Madison, number 61. I think the official was going to let him get away with it right until the end.
Holding. Offense. Number 61. 10-yard penalty. 1st down.
There he is, right in the center of your screen, 61. Hooks. He's got him. And Chad Thomas just at the end reaches out, and you see that stretched out jersey, and not going to get away with it. If you hold early, you can get away with it. You hold late, you're in trouble.
Well, not a good time to bring it up because they just got penalized, but you like the way Washington State has run the football this year.
That is the biggest difference in their team. Obviously, a more experienced Luke Falk, more into the system, more experience, but they have a different dimension now with their running backs. Keeps you off balance.
1st and 20 after the penalty. Falk, time in the pocket, dumps down. Gabe Marks makes the grab. Goes hurtling to the 15. Marks, who is coming back from a leg injury, not afraid to go over the top to get a couple more.
Remember when Brad Kaya had the dump off on 4th down, and we said, Brad, can't have that one. Well, this one on 1st and 20, that's a perfect decision. You look downfield, you buy time, and you make 8 or 10 yards on the play. Nice pocket.
Falk, it is going to be incomplete. Intended for Williams, couldn't hang on.
I think it was Rayshon Jenkins at number 26 coming up and getting the pop. You know, I thought the 2 well, he looked like he dropped it before he got hit on that one at 2nd look. I thought the defensive backs, Carter, were really struggling with the field early, but it looks to me now that they've really adjusted and gotten used to it. Miami's DB's really closing strong on these throws.
Red zone numbers brought to you by Verizon. Luke Falk in the red zone. 0 INTs versus 26 TDs. Falk scrambling. He will be dropped near the original line of scrimmage. Quan Muhammad, the sophomore outside linebacker, brings him down.
I don't really know if he had anybody to go to on this play, but 3rd down and long, have perhaps a field goal attempt in your pocket when Muhammad from behind gets Luke Falk. You know, I think if he gains 4 or 5 more yards and Muhammad doesn't make that play, he may go for it on 4th down. But from 4th and 10, you got to go field goal. Even Mike Leach goes for
30. He's had 2 blocked this year.
Oh, bad snap.
Fossum gets it down, and Powell boots it through. Credit Caleb Fossum with a solid hold.
Yeah, best catch of the day, don't you think?
Yeah, he didn't fumble it either. Fossum plays a multitude of roles for Washington State, but early in this one, the hold by Caleb Foster, making sure Powell boots it through.
Yeah, and Powell has to concentrate. He sees it out of the corner of his eye. He knows it's a bad snap. He sees it, and he has to have confidence, and it works. Nice job.
Powell boots it through. Washington State, home of Super Bowl 50. The 82nd Hyundai Sun Bowl, 48th year on CBS. It's 10-7 Washington State. Carter Blackburn, Gary Danielson, Allie LaForce. Chilly El Paso got cold right before kickoff.
You know, but the two, I think the head coaches, Mike Leach, Larry Scott, and the two quarterbacks, if your quarterbacks aren't cold, you can't be cold. That's the rules.
Did you abide by those?
No, I used to say that all the time. If I'm not cold, you're not cold.
Kickoff from Eric Powell, who had the 30-yard field goal. Walton will begrudgingly take a knee in the end zone for the touchback. Time to take a look at our Home Depot tools for success.
Well, we saw it probably in replay. Not a lot of people saw it live, and we've seen it a lot of time. It's the 8 lateral play of the year. Crawford to Elder, to Johnson, to Walton. Back to Johnson, over to Brady, back to Elder, to Crawford, and then to Corn Elder, who I'm going to nickname from now on. Corn Elder, from now on, will be the Colonel.
Yeah.
Put it together. The Colonel, get it?
Yeah,
Corn?
I like it.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? Second reference, I got it. Yeah, great. Second reference.
That was my job. That's all I had to do my last 3 years in the NFL was to give, here it comes.
Kaya takes
on
the sack.
outside.
At the 16, Vial leads the way, along with McClellan.
Yeah, Trevor Darling. I mean, this is a young offensive line. And this time Darling steps in a little bit too far inside before he gets to McClellan. McClellan gets around the corner. It was just too short of a corner that time. Trevor Darling was helping inside, and by the time he got back out again, it was too late.
Kaya long drop, screen on second down. Fling it to the outside to Walton. Tries to reverse field. Maybe looking for Corn Elder. Gets a block on the outside. Walton shakes his way across the 45-yard line. Mark Walton takes the screen, reverses field, and takes it himself for 30 yards.
Sometimes, Carter, their X's are better than your O's. And on this one, that Washington State defense had pursued, they had it stopped, and Mark Walton, the true freshman from Miami Beach, Booker Washington High School, makes the play and made a beautiful play. He's had a great catch and now a great screen run.
Straight ahead, Walton again, bouncing outside. Walton shoved out, gets 2 more. We check in with Allie LaForce.
Gary, you said earlier you didn't think it was that cold outside. I'm here to tell you that I completely distree.
You're
It's
from
freezing
Ohio.
down here.
You're from Ohio.
And I'm from Ohio. And this is the first time I've seen snow all year, and it's happening in Texas. But I'm glad to see that you living in Florida hasn't changed you. By the way, in Miami right now, it's 81 degrees, so it should be no surprise that the Miami sidelines has heaters going. Players are fighting each other for who can stand in front of them. Washington State, though, they have no heaters on their sideline. They're toughing this one out.
Note the preparation by Allie. I mean, had the hood, had the gloves.
Yeah. That's because she's from Ohio. The weather changes every 5 minutes there.
Yerby takes it on the draw, dropped at the 50.
Number 2, Joe Yerby, the ball carrier, tripped up at midfield after a gain of 3.
Well, Yerby takes the draw play, and you just need one good tackle, and as Liani that time makes it from the Shalom. This is a hard one for me. Shalom Luani. Got it?
I mean,
is that
it's,
right?
Yes, the junior from American Samoa rolled this fall at Washington State, but Shalom Luani.
Yeah, seven of them, right, from the American Samoa Islands, and a big part of this football team that Mike Leach has put together.
Joe Salavea, the defensive line coach, is a legend in American Samoa.
Well, and a great history at Washington State with Jack Thompson, too. He started.
Samoa.
That might be a fumble.
They're going to call it incomplete, rule it incomplete. So a break there for Miami.
and a stop. And Alex Grinch, the defensive coordinator for Washington State, as you see them, again, great decision by the quarterback. He's got an opportunity, but he did not have it under control. He says the goal of our defense, Alex Grinch says, is create possessions. And what he means by that is there's two ways to do it. Win on third down and get them off the field. You create a possession, or you create turnovers. Two ways to create another possession.
Taliulu knocks it away from Njoku.
That was shanked right
Sure
out, almost
was.
out of bounds.
Here it goes out. It's going to go down as a 23-yard punt from Vogel.
I thought the Washington State punter was slow and Miami would make a play, but this time it appeared that the Miami punter took a little too long, and he that was just all him. You know, I'm not cold. You're not cold. Looks like the punter's cold.
Oh.
Vogel is cold.
Washington State from the Pac-12 leading Miami from the ACC. Time for our Aflac trivia question. Who is the only person to be a head coach at both Washington State and Miami? Your hint is those weren't his only two coaching stops.
This one was a slam dunk, but I'm a little older, so I remember this.
Well, I got it too.
So it is a slam dunk. Ooh, high ball again. High throw again.
Intended for John Thompson.
That ball just slipped out of his hand. He had it easy completion that time, and Luke Falk is not handling this weather as well as I am. He's more on Allie's side than on my side of this.
In that hoodie. Morrow straight ahead. Morrow almost slips away from Dion Bush, who had the fumble recovery.
Well, that's the key of playing against these type of spread teams, the air raid teams, tackling in space. And if the Miami safeties continue to tackle well, they've started out strong, and if they continue that way, they had that first drive, I thought they were not playing in sync with the field. But since then, they've settled down.
3rd and 5. Falk dumps it, complete. Ooh, we'll see, check the spot. We'll also check the flag. Priester, he's short of the first down. Now we'll look at the penalty marker. Falk started 5 for 5, 10 for 18 cents.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense, number 8, hands to the face. 15-yard penalty, be added on to the end of the run. Automatic, first down.
Well, Muhammad had the earlier hit when he threw Luke Falk down. Remember, his head hit the back of the turf. This time, he got there a little late on this one. A lot of frustration going against these teams that get rid of the ball quickly. And yes, hand right to the face mask, and this one was called properly.
Bailing out Washington State. First down across the 50 again with 2:47. In other words, plenty of time for Washington State. Morrow takes the handoff again, brought down immediately. Obviously, when you're Mike Leach in the air raid, I mean, you go back, Kentucky offensive coordinator, Oklahoma offensive coordinator in the 10 years at Texas Tech.
Well, I mean, there's just a lot of opportunities. You're throwing the ball roughly 50 times a game. He's got a system. He demands, it's almost the opposite of a triple option, Navy attack. You have a process, you make your reads, 1, 2, 3, and you do it his way, and you have success. Most interesting about Graham Harrell there. Nice coverage by the Miami defense. That time was Artie Burns. We were a little worried about that ankle, but it did not bother him on that one. We had Graham Harrell in the Gator Bowl, and it was the 2008 Gator Bowl, 2007 season. But that setup, as you look at Graham is right there. He's helping with the slots, I believe. Is that what the position is? Outside receivers. They went from that game to maybe Texas Tech's best year the next year when they were 11-1, had the three-way tie.
Falk incomplete again. Here comes a flag. Penalty coming. Looks like it's on Tracy Howard in coverage on Marks.
Boy,
Harold's going to go to North Texas, by the way.
I
as
don't know.
offensive
I think
coordinator.
it's the other side of the field, Carter.
Flag on the field.
I think it wasn't on the throw. I think it was on the other side of the field. I think Artie Burns got it away with one the play before, but he didn't. I don't know if it happened this
Holding.
one.
Defense.
Yes.
Number 1.
Yep.
10-yard penalty from the previous line of scrimmage. First down.
Yeah, there was a lot of questions to play before whether he did it, and I think on this one, it was just a little too obvious. Burns grabs and holds on. That's just ridiculous. You're going to get called every time.
Burns, who was the question mark, banged up in warm-ups. Scott said it was a foot injury.
If Odell Beckham Jr. was there, that would have been a major fight right there.
Thank goodness it's not. It's all good.
Oh, safety blitz.
On 1st and 10, Wicks runs away from it, pushes to the 31. When we talked to Mike Leach, including about the 2 years out of coaching, when you asked him about, all right, well, how was the 2 years out of coaching? He said, quote, other than litigation, it was a pretty good time, including his work as an analyst with CBS Sports Network.
And let me tell you, everybody, he has not forgot about 2009. You think someone owes him money, and he keeps talking about it. We didn't even have to bring it up, did we?
Law degree from Pepperdine, and he's going to litigate that one as far as he possibly can. Gives it to Morrow. Morrow trying to stretch it outside, has a first down. Knocked out of bounds by Johnson.
I thought he guessed wrong. I thought Morrow took it inside a little too fast that time, but he actually ended up setting up Robert Lewis's block, number 15, on the play. I thought if he'd have just run for the first down marker, he'd have got it. He stepped inside it and then got away with it.
So first down from the 25 now for Washington State. Field goal on the last drive.
Yeah, it's a big stop here or touchdown either way, because remember, Miami gets the ball to start the second half.
Falk, time to throw once more. Got it in the end zone. Touchdown. Gabe Marks from Luke Falk.
Yeah, we talked about Luke Falk's earlier throw right up the middle. This one was just as good.
This one from 25.
It's just the seam route right down the middle right there. Everybody runs it. He looks at the safety, gets him to the middle of the thing, 4 vertical, and bang. What a nice throw.
Classic air raid, right?
Yep.
4 vertical.
Yep. You just keep running it over and over again. And after a while, Carter, you get so good at knowing what the defense is going to do and what they can do. You just gain confidence. And that was a wonderful throw. No defense for that one.
Foul on for the PAT. Washington State 17-7. The journey continues for Gabe Marks. The touchdown grab from Luke Falk. The sophomore walked on at Washington State. Big numbers, big credentials, and a solid touchdown strike to Gabe Marks. 17-7. Guy who took a year off, redshirted, and came back, and he has had a great junior season.
Bounce back year, and I'm surprised, as I said before, he's even playing.
Nasty leg injury in the Apple Cup game against Washington. A big question mark, but he's out there and makes that touchdown grab, 25 yards. Marks 2 catches in the game, including that TD. So a pair of touchdown passes for Falk. Miami will get it back. 2 timeouts, minute 10. Walton bobbles it near the goal line. It's going to trickle in. Walton.
That's fine. The momentum of the ball sent it in there. He's okay. Good, sharp play by Walton.
It's a touchback, get it to the 25.
Momentum of the play, ball goes in there. A lot of guys panic on this play and try to run it out. But for a true freshman football player, he handled this one really well. It's not the catch, but the decision.
Stacey Coley was there to advise him. So we asked you earlier our Aflac trivia question. He's the only person to coach both of these programs, Washington State and Miami. Dennis Erickson. So there was your hint that not the only stops of his coaching career were Washington State and Miami. Kaya complete to the outside. Herb Waters makes the catch. Clock rolling under a minute.
2 timeouts. Now remember now, it is into the wind. So you're going to have to get this ball driven down a little farther than maybe normal for a field goal try.
Kaya 1 interception. It was in the end zone off the receiver's hands. That one is incomplete. Kaya just gets it away, intended for Scott.
Yeah, Ivan McLennan that time came around the corner again. pressure from the backside. And watch it, just as he lets it go, he's lucky he got rid of it.
And Taliulu, who we heard wishing his Hawaiians Mele Kaliki Maka, knocks it away. Bring up third down already. Low snap. Kaya brings it in, takes the sack back at the 19.
Timeout by
34
Washington
seconds.
State,
Yep.
too. With the last punt only going, what, 20, what'd you say, 23 yards?
23.
23 yards. This is a real opportunity that Washington State could finish off a wonderful finish off to a half. Miami started out, remember, with a 15-play drive. And since then, they have, what, 18 plays?
That's right, 18 offensive plays.
Jeez.
Mata, Afa, and Paulo get the sack. Washington State gets the foot.
All day, baby.
At least he's layered up. Vogel, who had that bad punt the last time, hits this one at the 10 into the wind, and it is going to come back the other way again. Oof. I mean, into the stiff breeze.
It was. That's one of those times where you might need a rugby-type kick. Drive it forward.
So Vogel's having a tough day in the punt game. The junior from Tampa spent his freshman year at Florida. That one, 27.
This will be interesting now. If you're a quarterback, you love this situation. 2 timeouts. You can throw the ball anywhere on the field. Opportunity for a field goal is always there, but you want to stick one down there and get a throw for the end zone.
Washington State has the win at the Cougars' backs. Luke Falk, the sophomore from Logan, Utah.
A couple holding penalties out here. You go after Burns.
Falk, deep shot, first play. Burns almost had it picked. They tried him out, and he nearly got the INT.
They had him, too. There was a little bit of a late throw. Artie Burns makes the correction on the play, but if that would have been thrown on time, they had one. A little bit of a gimmick play. You run kind of a stack, throw the ball as far as you can, and you have a touchdown. Underthrown ball, and it ends up being almost, and could have been, an interception.
Nearly the 7th pick of the year for Burns. Falk, second down to Marks. Spinning on the outside. Marks out of bounds. He has the first down. Clock stops temporarily with 10 seconds.
Here's what a veteran receiver can do. Watch as Marks catches the ball. Miami's going to give up yardage here. Watch Marks catch the ball, look in, and go out. Watch him deke in with his head and turn out to the outside. Knows exactly what he's going to do when that ball's on the way. Oh, personal foul on top of it, too.
That's exactly right. So that was after the play was over. Personal foul against Miami. March it off all the way to the 16. Penalties continue to plague the Canes.
I was too busy talking there to see what happened. Did you see what happened?
I was thinking the same thing.
You were too busy listening?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Following your replay. 1st and 10 from the 16. 10 seconds. Falk zips it incomplete. Intended for Marks again, and here come the flags.
Targeting, and remember, this Miami team is already short on defensive backs going into the game.
Because if that targeting penalty is upheld, then that's an ejection already.
26, Rashawn Jenkins is a guy.
Jamal Carter sent home.
Watch him, middle of the screen, right behind the goalpost. Well, he left his feet, he launched, and I know you're trying to make a play, but that's the one we want to take out of this game.
Personal foul. Targeting. Defense. Number 26. The play's under further review.
Let's see if he actually made contact on the play. Can we see it from this angle? I'm not sure. I don't think he got it. I thought the receiver was taken down. I don't know. It was not helmet to helmet.
Right, and it doesn't have, by the letter of the law, the forcible contact of the head or neck area of the defenseless opponent with a helmet, forearm, hand, fist, elbow, or shoulder.
He got it with the forearm, though. And watch his head snap. And I think the fact that he launched as well, I think he's going to be out of the football game.
You know, and the other part of that rule, when in question,
Yeah.
it is a foul.
And listen, we've been dealing with this now for, what, 3 years? You got to learn. You can't take that shot. And now he's going to really leave his team short. It's going to be very difficult now for Miami to go 6 defensive backs the rest of the game.
Against the air raid.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Number 26 has been disqualified from the game for targeting. Half the 15-yard penalty will be half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
And it also is going to mean Jaquan Johnson, number 4, a true freshman, will have to step in and play more football. We have a couple other names that were Mark D'Onofrio said might play, but he wasn't really excited about playing them. Really, it was defended perfectly from the outside on the play to make the deflection. And there he is, Jaquan Johnson in the game.
First and goal pass incomplete, leaving 3 seconds for Washington State. Johnson there in coverage. They immediately attack Johnson. Now do you kick? And here comes the kicking unit with 3 seconds.
Yeah, this was, you know, from the shotgun, you're only going to have 1 throw. If you went from under center, you might get 2 throws if you do it quicker, but a gift 3 points is a gift 3 points if you're Washington State.
Talk about a gift. It's back-to-back drives now. Washington State has had 15 yards given them by Miami.
Yeah, but Cougar fans are saying there's no such thing as a sure thing on a field goal after they missed the one to beat Stanford.
Stanford, after Powell had made 5 of them in that game. 25-yarder here. Snap down, Powell's 25-yarder is through. So with the help of the Miami targeting penalty, a 20-7 Washington State lead. That is 63 penalty yards on 6 penalties against Miami in the first half.
Actually, in that drive, it was a 4 punt and 2 roughing penalties. 1 roughing and 1 targeting that really led to the chip shot.